This is another episode of the Flight Ringers podcast. I'm David King. That's Dan Spottswood.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
We are professional cartoonists, and we are Legion of Superheroes experts. I never liked hanging up t-shirts because it stretches out the neck, and like I have the neck size of t-shirts.
You told me.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
I got some new t-shirts recently. God, fuck those new t-shirts.
I think you can stretch them. I've been reading it, like you can sort of manipulate the size of clothes. You can deliberately shrink and unshrink things. Do you know that?
I don't think you can shrink a t-shirt collar that's too big.
Oh, okay.
Like, what do you do? Hot water? Hot dryer?
Well, like the shrinking, that's too much heat will shrink it. But I guess you can get them wet and stretch them out and they will stay stretched back out.
Yeah, I think that's true.
There's ways to sort of finagle it to fit you.
If you wash something and like line dry it, it doesn't shrink down as much.
Right.
Like that's why I don't put my pants in the dryer because they won't fucking fit anymore. So I'll air dry those. Yeah, I have some pants that I hang over the back of the chair to dry, and when I put them on, I'm like, wow, these are real roomy. These are good sized pants. But meanwhile, the other ones that I bought like on the same day from the same store, same size, are like, what the fuck? These won't go on, you know?
Did you see that link I sent you? What some guy was talking about this issue?
I read that.
I'm kind of wondering about that. Something I don't think he brought up, but I got to thinking about is not only is the plot very similar, but there is a very Dream Girl-like character in it who's just sort of slightly changed, Glorith. And it got me to thinking, like, were these originally like possibly a two-parter or something, and they changed their mind and put off the story and finished it differently later? Because it is a weird parallel.
Yeah, it's like the people in the comments of that blog post kind of poo-pooed his idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that guy suggested that they like originally did both comics and then sort of published them in different order, which I don't think that's probably how it happened. But
right.
Yeah, it could be that when they finally got around to bringing back Time Trapper, they sort of changed their plans. Like maybe they actually turned Dream Girl into a real Legionnaire by then.
Right. I almost wonder if could it have been a two-parter? And that second part we saw much later was the next part that was originally going to be the next issue. And this Dream Girl would reveal herself to be this Glorith character. She's a fake Legionnaire. She's like a Time Trapper plant.
Right. Yeah, maybe we should talk more about it. I saw a tweet about Trump promises to lower corporate tax rate or something like that if he's president, and then I was looking at the comments on that, and there's some people who are like, that sucks, should raise it, and there's other people who are, I don't know how they must be a bot, like how you could think this and not just be a moron that like yeah, but if you raise that rate, there's people who are going to be paying so much they're going to be in debt, and I'm like, well, fuck that person, you know what I mean? Like, and then somebody put some numbers up, like how many, it's going to affect like 10,000 Americans, and they're not going to go bankrupt. They know ways to not go bankrupt,
Right.
But like, how can you say that with a straight face that like it's going to cause some rich person to be in the red at tax time? You know what I mean? Give me a break. Like, they've got you snowed in, dude.
Right. All kinds of stupid shit like that. I guess like most of the worries related to Social Security could easily be remedied if there's like some sort of ceiling as to how much they can tax people. So a ridiculous amount of wealthy people don't have to pay any more than, I don't know, like someone who makes 100,000 has to pay as much as someone who makes $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because of the ceiling. And if they just got rid of that, then we would never have any Social Security woes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of loopholes. Like all you have to do is start a business, and the business can make it all at once and pay a different tax rate, and then pay me next to nothing, even though I'm the president and I live in a house that's owned by the business and whatever the fuck all that stuff is,
Right.
I don't know all the details, but I know that they do,
Yeah. I just think these assholes need to understand, like, you're lucky to be living this ridiculous life that you're living. So you don't want us to come and take everything. You better accept that we're just going to tax you a little more. You're not even going to feel it. Like, it's absurd that you can have so much and then you whine about the taxes. Did you watch that movie Don't Look Up.
I didn't watch that.
You should watch it. It's pretty funny.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's rare to see a movie that addresses the things it addresses. I feel like those kinds of movies rarely get greenlit.
Well, all right, I'll watch it. I'll watch it this weekend.
There's a pretty funny, funny/scary Jeff Bezos stand-in character, and of course, all the wealthy people decide to leave the planet.
Mhm.
All the people are denying that anything's happening. Have a spaceship ready to leave Earth right before everything ends.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right. All right. Adventure Comics 317, going all the way back. Way back machine. We're taking our time bubble.
It's like the oldies radio DJ. It's like, let's hop in our time bubbles,
Right.
cats and kitties, and go on back to 2962.
Way back, December 26, 1963, for Adventure Comics 317, The Menace of Dream Girl.
Who wrote this one? Hamilton or Siegel?
Hamilton.
Really?
Edmund Hamilton, John Fort, Milt Snapin, and Mort Weisinger.
Milt snapping on letters,
Milt
taking
snapping.
us way back.
Snappin' Pussy. That's what I think of whenever I hear his name.
Gross.
I've never even heard anyone use that, but George Carlin mentioned it in the routine. I guess it was a common phrase in his youth.
Weird. I've never heard that before.
A snapping pussy. He even describes it in gross detail. It has to do with a woman who has like very good control over
like the ones who can like smoke a cigarette.
I guess they're good at gripping. They can grip you.
Okay, back to the comic. No more
Back
talking
to
about
the comic.
shooting ping pong balls out of your hoo-hoo.
Yeah,
So this one is the first appearance of Dream Girl, right?
that's right. Kind of one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, look, the cover's already popped off. I opened this comic book 2 times. Oh well.
I used to hate the character until I realized I just hated the way Paul Levitz wrote her.
Yeah, she seems better in this comic than in any Paul Levitz comic.
Yeah, I think he started, and maybe he's the only one who ever wrote her, constantly whining about her nails.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he wrote her more than anybody else, probably.
I mean, he did good things with her. She was the leader during the Great Darkness saga, and he played up the sort of rivalry between her and Brainiac 5. It's just, I guess maybe it's like she's playing dumb, but she's really smart. That's what he was trying to do with her, but it just gets really annoying after a while, the way he wrote her dialogue when she's so vain.
Yeah, just that broke my fingernail thing is like, it's just such a shorthand of characterization,
Right.
And stupid, like every issue. Like, give me a break, Paul. Think of another thing.
It's dumb enough you do it once, but it was like every issue.
Yeah.
But I think she's a really interesting character, and a lot of that is actually established here. So
she seems pretty fully formed, if you get my drift, in this story. She shows up to, I guess, just join the Legion, right?
Right. We have this sort of second cover with all the male Legionnaires at her beck and call, offering her all kinds of exotic gifts, while the lady Legionnaires are in the back fuming.
Yeah, Bouncing Boy's gift. He says the people of the planet Suhuru would make me their king if I gave them this, but I'd rather you have it. That's not actually in the comic anywhere, but on this page. But it's kind of funny.
Right.
And sick.
Man, Bouncing Boy's not thinking this through. I mean, he could just become the king there, and there's half the population is ladies, right?
Presumably. Yeah, the story sort of opens with these guys out on missions. And Saturn Girl's calling them all home because she's desperate to have a quorum for their meeting.
It almost reminds me of like Highway Patrol or Adam 12. You got the chief or whatever at the radio talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Calling them in.
I feel like in the Silver Age comics, they don't always elaborate on the missions that the Legionnaires go on. In this one, right here on the third panel, Lightning Lass is making a sculpture for these people.
These strange Oompa Loompa characters look like they're out of a Harvey comic.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking.
Mm-hmm. Then you contrast that to like this war-torn,
it gets real bleak.
Atomic. Yeah, it's unusually dark for a Legion comic. It even looks like an Earth City. I think it's strange though, because they tend to hit you over the head with their messages, but it's very understated. Like there's no mention of like this the danger of man turning man on man, or I don't know. There's no anti-war sentiment or anything in there. Like
Yeah, they
maybe
don't
they
say
were
anything like this could happen on Earth. They don't say
right,
that. It's
right.
just maybe it's just the times. It's such a fact of life that he felt like he had to stick it in there. Like everybody's like this Cold War shit is happening in
I feel like they
1963.
want to talk. I feel like he wants to talk about it, but maybe Weisinger is like, no, that's too grim. You can't say that.
Yeah,
So they're just kind of observing without making any commentary.
and they go back here. Like they
Right.
use this place later, but yeah, it's very horrifying, I guess. And he's
Yes.
like, if
Yeah.
we can't be outside of our decontamination suits.
Right.
And they're cool decontamination suits.
Yeah.
I was imagining those drawn by Keith Giffen or something that look pretty good.
Mad Eater Lad he's licking his lips, looking at all this good stuff to eat, but he can't.
Maybe he could. Maybe radioactive stuff is like it's like hot, spicy Mexican food or something to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he could digest it, but it might kill him, the exposure to it. Like he could eat it, no problem, but he'll get cancer from holding it.
Yeah.
Like his
I guess
stomach,
so.
if he could get it somehow into his stomach without exposing the rest of his body to it.
You'd think that they would cultivate the cells of Bismolian esophaguses to make spacesuits or something like that. That sounds also very gross. Just an idea.
Yeah, I always wanted to see his race as like a race of like locusts. Like they're dreaded. Like they just go from planet to planet eating everything.
Oh yeah.
Like in swarms.
But it's like they're bar hopping or something.
Right, right.
Pub crawl. There must be a food version of that. Yeah, there's like 7 Bismolians, and they just go from one restaurant to the next, getting all the appetizers.
I'm picturing like billions of them coming down on the planet and just killing and eating everything.
Wow.
Moving from planet to planet.
Oh, I wasn't picturing it that way, but yeah, yours is more scary than mine. But yeah, so while those guys are doing these low-key science missions and humanitarian missions, Mon-El and Superboy are flying their bodies at super speed against a barrier created by the Time Trapper.
Right. This is the first appearance of the Iron Curtain of Time. And naturally, since they're wearing the helmets, they make a point to state out loud why they're wearing helmets, even though they don't need them for communication purposes.
Yeah, you think they do need them for communication purposes.
Right. But it's like one of those things, like it almost feels like the editor goes over and goes, no, you need to explain. You need to explain this to the reader. Got to work that into the dialogue every time. It's kind of like whenever Superman destroys a building or something, he makes sure to have a thought bubble that says, I'll come back and rebuild that building later.
Yeah, I guess they need those things on to communicate because they talk constantly during the whole process, even when they're smashing their bodies against it.
Right. They need to explain.
And yeah, this is the first like utterance of the word Time Trapper, I guess. They act like we all know who he is, but we've never actually heard of him.
The 30 days in the future thing, I think, is really clever, but I don't feel like it's ever properly explained that it is always 30 days in the future. Like when they go back and try to tomorrow to do it, they don't say 29 days in the future. It's never really stated that it's sort of a floating 30 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I got that it's always 30 days, no matter what day it is.
Yeah, I'm denser. I'm like, why don't you just wait 30 days?
Yeah. I just wonder why it is 30 days and not some other amount of time.
I mean, I've always imagined it was some contrivance so they couldn't just go into the future and figure out the outcome of some battle there in the middle of it.
Yeah, but how come the Time Trapper didn't put the Iron Curtain of Time one day in the future?
Right.
Because I think when we were talking about the annual, I said you could still rig the lottery if you can go 30 days in the future.
Right.
Know? Not that the Legionnaires would ever do that, but a villain might, like everyone seems to have easy access to time bubbles and stuff when they need them. So there's that.
Do they? I mean, they're at the Time Institute for sure, by the 80s anyway.
Well, the Legion of Supervillains is always going to hassle Superman, right?
You would think they'd have that place better guarded.
Yeah, I think maybe that everybody can build their own. Like there's no proprietary time travel shit.
Yeah, it seems harder to come by the time you get to the Levitz era, but certainly in the Silver Age, it feels like it's just getting in a car and driving to 1950. Like it's so commonplace that in Superboy, in the Legion's first appearance, he shows up at that school and no one even looks twice. They're like, "Oh, it's a good thing you're here, Superboy. Can you fix this robot version of yourself? Do you remember that?"
Yeah. I guess Superboy always could do it. Maybe they knew that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they have their meeting.
Oh, yeah. They're meeting when they finally have it. They're just going to read the Constitution.
Yeah, it's really fucking boring.
They all look super bored. Like in this panel, like Bouncing Boy's kind of got his elbow up in the table and
Yeah.
he's done. And then there's this goofball Legion applicant.
Salad tosser lad or something.
It looks like a salad, but it's
Bowl
actually
of leaves.
it's
kid.
feathers that are heavy as lead. And he's used his formula.
And he's got gray hair too. He looks really fucking old. That's why they really kicked him out.
Yeah, he looks like an
Really?
old loser. And they're like, yeah, fuck off. We already have a Starboy.
Yeah, salad tosser lad.
But then va va voom.
Oh yeah. They're like hubba hubba.
Yeah, Dream Girl walks in and she's all leaned back like she's doing her supermodel walk or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And she's from the scientific world of Naltor. I think originally it's a scientific world, but in time I think it becomes the dream prophecy world, right? They back off of the science part and say that everybody has, or most people have Dream Girl type powers there, right?
I don't think they ever back off the science part because they use it. They reference it a lot in the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
Right. Like, for instance, when Brainiac 5 is kicked out of the Legion / quits, Polar Boy wants Dream Girl to take over as the science person because of her background. They both exist in that world. They have, I don't know. I don't know how you square that because certainly her sister is more magically inclined. But I don't know that the seers are necessarily mystics. Like they all, what is it? They all can see, everyone can see into the future, but no one can see as far as Dream Girl. Like I think she can see like a full year into the future, and maybe the other guys can only see like a month.
It's something like that. I think in this comic, she says how far she can see, and it's not a year, it's less than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's towards the end when she reveals
Right.
it. I forgot already. I read this afternoon and don't remember.
Well, who can say if she's telling the truth in this issue?
That's true. Yeah, but all the dudes go gaga over her, and she hasn't even like tried out for the team yet. But they're all bringing her a chair and offering her Neptune nectar, and then just gawking at her. The second panel on page 4. The girl Legionnaires are so upset by this.
Yeah,
and I was wondering if it seems like she's an adult. I mean, I guess they're all drawn kind of muscly now and grown up looking, but they're all like they're supposed to be teenagers, supposed to be like 15, you know?
Right. I mean, they never really look like teenagers. I mean,
sometimes
they're
they
teenagers in the same way like Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello were teenagers, like 25-year-olds playing teenagers, 25-year-olds without acne.
I guess so.
You know what I mean?
I feel like Win Mortimer drew them like teenagers a little bit. I mean, that was way after this.
Right. By then, they kind of are probably like 18, 19 years old at least.
Probably.
But when they start out, at least, they're supposed to be like 14, 15, and they never really look as scrawny as they ought to for that age.
Yeah, for real. But Dream Girl is drawn more womanly than the other girl Legionnaires. But they want to try her out, and she's like, but I have to be asleep to do my tryout. And Saturn Girl's like, give me a break. And the boy Legionnaires are all like, no, you let her try at least.
Right. And they're all just lording over her while she's asleep.
Yeah, just watching her. I think they have that 2 different times where they're just watching her sleep and talking about how beautiful she is.
Right. I love that picture of Lightning Lass. She's rolling her eyes. Her head tilted up like, Jesus Christ. Can't believe they're falling for this shit.
So she has her premonition about some monsters and what's the other thing? Some explosion.
Like an exploding tanker at a spaceport. So Superboy and Starboy head out separately to check out her premonitions.
And Starboy gets a little moment in the sun to sort of go through his origin, tell us what his powers are.
Right. This is kind of a reintroduction to the character because up until now, he hasn't appeared except for his first appearance, which he wasn't even, he says he's a member of the Legion, but maybe he comes back to the 20th century and competes with Superboy for a girl's affections or something like that. And we don't actually see him among the team. I think he was originally probably intended as a one-off character.
Yeah, just another one of those superpowered competitors for Superboy who
Right.
trots
And they
through the
gave him
comic.
like limitless godlike powers. Like anything Superboy could do, he could do 10 times better.
Uh-huh.
So they're sort of retconning his powers in this issue to make him more compatible with the team.
Yeah, and it's a real scientific explanation for his powers.
Right.
His father is explaining to his mother back in this flashback of how his powers are going to work when he grows up.
Right.
Space radiation has evolved within him the power to draw induced mass from the stars. He'll be able to induce supermass or weight on any object. Gift from the stars.
This doesn't jive with his other origin, which I think was in that other appearance. I think they flew through the tail of a comet, maybe, and that's how he got his powers.
Oh, right. Yeah, and they sort of combine them later on.
Right. So
Yeah,
later
yeah.
they say he, on top of these powers that he was born with, he temporarily gained all those godlike powers from the tail of a comet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that ties into Comet Queen's origin from in the 80s.
I hope I'm not mixing those up. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But at any rate, like those other powers wore off. They were temporary.
No, that sounds right to me. The monsters that she saw in her vision are they're like birds with alligator heads and like lizardy wings. They're pretty cool. Good John
Right.
Fort monsters like usual.
Mm-hmm.
And what does he do? He just makes them
very
heavy
heavy
and then leaves them for Science Police to take care of.
to whack them.
Yeah, exactly. Cut their heads off.
Superboy throws the exploding fuel tank into space.
And I felt like both of these sort of I thought her premonitions always came true. And her premonition for the monsters was that they would hatch out and harm people, right?
They're going to end up killing those science police officers Starboy just sent to their deaths.
Yeah.
And that tanker that exploded right next to like a satellite, a manned satellite.
I guess you could there's some semantics here. She says the monsters flew away to prey on men. So like they attempted to fly away and prey on men, but they were thwarted by Starboy. I guess that's the argument.
I'm not sure if they've ever addressed this with the character, but surely, like any other person, she probably just has regular dreams, maybe even stress dreams about losing friends or whatever. I guess I'm just wondering, like, how does she distinguish between just a nightmare from a premonition?
Yeah, I don't know.
And they never really address that, but that seems like that'd be a good way of fuzzing things up.
Well, don't they even sort of fuzz things up about her powers towards the end of the story where, I mean, I was a little confused. Maybe I'll remember when we get to it, where it seems like she backpedals on her original explanation of the way her powers work. Anyway, since her premonitions came true, she's admitted to the team, even though none of the girls vote to admit her.
Right. It's a pretty funny scene, though. For some reason, not everyone was included in the vote just because they weren't present, though we see Shrinking Violet for sure in a couple pages.
Yeah, I think they are gradually returning from their missions, but they didn't get there in time to vote. Like they mentioned Lightning Lad, and he shows up later.
You think Saturn Girl would want to get all the girls there, but I guess each girl has like 3 dudes with them, so
yeah, they are always going to be outnumbered by the guys.
Right. So they once she's inducted into the team, the boys are trying to show her the ropes, but she is very disinterested in their defense plans and such. She only seems to be interested in studying the Constitution.
Like all beautiful women,
Right.
Just wants to study the Constitution. She's probably a constitutional originalist.
But then cut to God damn it, we skipped something kind of critical.
Oh, okay.
We have sort of much like the Mordrew story. This story alludes to a battle we've never seen, because when they're first trying to break through the Iron Curtain of Time back on page 3, they mention Cosmic Boy and Sun Boy trying to follow the time trapper and getting bounced off. So it's another missing adventure.
There's things like that in this issue. These sort of offhanded things. I mean, like just the deserted, the nuclear wasteland planet. Like you read this and it completely seems like a throwaway thing. And then it comes back. And I mean, that's not talking about some adventure that never actually occurred in the comic. But Hamilton is expecting us to be much more attentive in reading this comic than than even you and I are, let alone an 8-year-old, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of complicated storytelling and not, in a way, not very linear, I guess. I mean, there's a
Right.
lot of explanation. And all the shit with the time trapper adds up to nothing in this comic book, like all the stuff they talk about.
I love the visual of Saturn Girl crashing with the time bubble into the Iron Curtain, but it seems kind of nuts. Like, why wouldn't you just send Mon-El and Superboy and Ultra Boy? Why would you risk smashing against that thing and getting killed?
Yeah, it's pretty risky maneuver. And like
Mhm.
she's right next to Mon-El, who's failing again to crash
Right.
through the Iron Curtain of Time. But she's like, well, maybe my bubble.
I guess it depends on how literal this Iron Curtain is. Like, if they just can't penetrate it and they get flung back to their normal time, they're not in any danger. But the way they visually illustrate it, it always seems very physical, like they're getting knocked back, like they're getting hurt almost
Right.
by hitting against it.
Yeah, the people who attempt to go through it aren't harmed because they're superhuman.
Right.
But yeah, like, and they don't actually show Saturn Girl like running into it, I don't think.
Right.
But yeah, would that just crack like an egg if she flew into it, or is it just like you're bounced back to the same time you left?
Right. And then some of the later attempts, because I think beyond this one, they're always the three big guys trying to break through. They even like physically like piggyback onto one another as if somehow they're adding all of their momentum together. I always love that. Even though it made no sense.
Yeah, it makes zero sense. And it makes no sense that they would just continue trying it.
Right.
But yeah, they're so eager and so curious to find out what the time trapper's doing on the other side of that wall a month from now.
And this is different from the revised version of the story that we covered from the Legion Annual, in that they know it's the time trapper on the other side.
Yeah, that's right.
They had no idea why that wall was there or who put it up in the annual.
It's sort of as if when they revised that, they counted Time Trapper's first appearance as when he shows up like on screen for the first time instead of
Glorith in that case. But
yeah. Versus in this comic where they talk about him like we know him, and they said they've battled him like that didn't happen at all.
Just one of those untold tales that you can probably never tell. Like, I mean, there's no point now because this history doesn't exist anymore. But like, even if it still did, you could never satisfactorily do the first Mordru or Time Trapper story. It would never live up to people's imagination.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if he's only, who was it? Sunboy and Mon-El?
I think it was Sunboy and Cosmic Boy.
Yeah, these two regular guys went up against Time Trapper.
Right. Or at least those were the two who tried to pursue him into the future.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But if they were pursuing him, that means he was running away from them or something,
right?
Or he just robbed a bank. They don't make him out to be a very powerful villain.
Well, maybe he took it and then he's like, well, I'm bored. Eat shit. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air what kind of villain this guy's going to be. Yeah, but okay, so now that they've got Dream Girl on the team, she starts acting different. And she's a real cold fish. And the other girl Legionnaires are like, we knew she would be like this.
Right.
All she wants to do is study.
Yeah. Starboy is smitten with her and following her around, kissing her ass. And she says, stop pestering me. Your stupidity bores me. If I had $1 for every time a lady said that to me.
He doesn't give up. He's still like, his feelings aren't hurt by that. And also he thinks that she must have a good reason for being so mean.
Right.
And like, dude, if somebody's that mean to you, write them off. Give me a break.
He grew up in a dysfunctional home. He thinks that's what love is.
Yeah, weird. I don't think I've ever thought that. I mean, people don't actually think that. They don't articulate that in their minds. Like, she's not. Well, they do, don't they? She's not really mad at me or doesn't really hate me.
Right.
I've done something to make her.
Right.
God, people are so fucked up. I thought it was totally ridiculous, but it actually isn't not too far from plausibility.
No, sadly it is not.
Starboy, what a dolt. I think his stupidity is bothering me.
Yeah.
Boring me. Oh yeah, this next page is where Saturn Girl is she's trying to just like get Dream Girl out of the way so she can't hurt anybody else's feelings or something.
Right.
Sends her on a boring mission with Lightning Lass.
And she seems to almost trap Lightning Lass. Like, she says, there's nothing to see here, but you can check it if you want to. And then as soon as Lightning Lass goes up there, there's an electrical explosion, which seems to destroy her powers.
Yeah, it destroys her powers and ruins her. She's very upset by this.
Right.
Because she has to leave the team.
Right. Then Dream Girl immediately says, well, no powers. You got to get off the team.
Yeah, Dream Girl's doing this shit where she's following the letter of the Constitution and one by one eliminating her teammates from the team.
I'm trying to remember now. Is this before or after the Saturn Girl story? Because it kind of has the same plot.
It's after, but not too much after. Wasn't that like 307 or something? It was just a few issues ago. Yeah, because that was in the lead up to the death of Lightning Lad when Saturn.
But Lightning Lad is here.
Yeah, he's back. He was revived in 312.
Okay.
And he must have died in 305, 306, something like that.
Pretty early.
But yeah, it's very similar plot to that one. And it sort of amounts to the same thing at the end where she isn't really trying to destroy the Legion from within.
Right.
She's trying to protect them.
Right.
To spoil the end of the comic.
Right. And the end of the comic, if not for the end of the comic, her intentions being good, this whole contrivance wouldn't have made any sense because all she would have to do is look up the part of the Constitution that says you can't have two members with the same powers, which the Legion, I guess, has been ignoring for the last few issues.
Yeah.
Since Lightning Lad came back.
Yeah. I mean, she seems like she knows it later on.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, she definitely knows.
I don't know why she didn't go for that one rather than...
Well, because her intentions are actually good.
Oh, right? I see. Yeah, you're right. That's what you already said, and I didn't catch it. I like this drawing of Lightning Lass here when she's crying with her head down. And then Triplicate Girl goes off on Dream Girl, and that's also grounds for dismissal to go off on one of your teammates.
What a fuddy-duddy rule. That's why they're so boring and they never have interesting teenage arguments. They're all scared of being kicked out.
God, what an awful group.
Very oppressive.
Yeah, it's really fascistic, like thought police type of shit. Plus, you literally have thought police on the team. And I bet Saturn Girl's always going around like, sure, there's nothing you want to say, Bouncing Boy? And he's like, no, nothing.
Right. They can't say anything mean to one another, so they resort to like elaborate gaslighting pranks.
Yeah, it's starting to make some sense now.
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of clicks and bullying.
Right.
And like, he's hitting himself, while Ultra Boy's got hold of your arm, slapping your face with it. Like, I'm not doing that. These guys.
It is interesting that she's the only one who's well versed in this Constitution that they apparently have to read through with every meeting. Obviously, none of them paying attention.
They ignore every bit of it. And this part where Dream Girl goes outside and then Starboy comes to talk to her, and he's like trying to convince her not to go through with the court martial. And he says, nobody as sweet and beautiful as you could do such a thing. And he's known her for like 2 days. And she's been a total B to him for almost that entire time. Like as soon as she joined the team, she's telling him how boring and stupid he is. Like, I don't know what this dude's problem is. Like, how can you be so fooled so quickly? And is it just because he's just fallen head over heels for this beautiful girl? Is that all it is? Like, she's not nice at all. She's not cool at all.
Well, it all works out in the long run between them, or it doesn't.
Yeah, not exactly. All right, part 2, The Doom of the Legion. Oh, now we got this part has Super Sleuth Matter Eater Lad. He has a big part in this as he's trying to ferret out exactly what she's up to.
He makes the mistake of turning to Resident Genius Brainiac 5 for answers. Always a mistake in the Legion comics. His brilliant plan was just make sure she's not talking to anyone suspicious. Don't think you need a level... What level is his intelligence?
12th level intelligence.
12th level intelligence to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what he says to do. I kind of forgot. Just watch her, right?
Right.
Find out if she has secret contacts.
Contacts, yeah. And he's like, I never thought of that. I'll just make sure she's not talking to like the Fatal Five or something.
Like, I'll just watch her like a hawk. I mean, all the other boys are doing that anyway, but he's going to do it in a serious way. Oh, and when Matter Eater Lad first meets up with Brainiac 5 is like, hold it a sec.
Right.
He's looking at the data from the war-ravaged planet, even though earlier in the comic they were taken away off that mission before they really could collect any data, but I guess they got enough for him to analyze.
And this is another example of them sort of talking about the ills of nuclear war without preaching about it. Like, it's just sort of a background detail. He's like, Just want to see how long before men can live on that war-ruined world again.
It's a good
I
detail.
feel like maybe like Hamilton wanted to say these things, but he had to be careful how he phrased things. Like maybe Weisinger was worried that the pro Cold War parents might
The pro Cold
think it's
War
like
parents.
think that this is like weird liberal shit.
Yeah. Some peacenik writing this comic
Right.
doesn't like our weapons.
Right. So he's just stating all the horrors sort of matter of factly.
Which makes it more horrifying.
Yeah.
And like Brainiac 5, this kid, this 15-year-old kid, he's totally accustomed to the idea that there's worlds out there that have been ravaged by nuclear
this shit
warfare.
happens all the time in the future.
I meant to look up just how long it might take in reality for a nuclear war ravaged world to be habitable again by men. And I think it's a real long time.
Thousands of years, long time.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or hundreds, maybe. I don't know.
There are things living and growing in Chernobyl. Of course, that isn't a nuclear explosion. That's just a leaked power plant. But
yeah, it's different.
I think they might be growing kind of weird. You can like visit there, but you can't stay very long or you'll die.
Yeah, they had that Chernobyl show. Did you watch it? I never got around to it.
The drama? No.
Yeah.
But I've known people who lived there. In fact, a guy I knew and worked with for many years was from there. He ended up dying of a cancer. No, he was pretty old by the time he got it or they found it, but it was like a common cancer that is found among people who lived there during that time.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
But nuclear power, I'm generally in favor of it, as long as it's regulated and not. I think the key is not to privatize it. And if it's well regulated, it can be safe.
Yep, big ifs, I think, because there are certain types of politicians who don't want anything to be regulated.
Right. Don't need to regulate things. The market will take care of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
We see why Matter Eater Lad isn't destined to be the character Chameleon Boy becomes in the 70s, the super sleuth, because he starts barking up the wrong tree immediately, thinking because Dream Girl almost sits in Chameleon Boy's chair, it must be Chameleon Boy in disguise.
This is her first day on the job, and she almost sits in the wrong chair, which is 2 seats away from her own. So yeah, he thinks Matter Eater Lad thinks Dream Girl may be Chameleon Boy in disguise. And I mean, that still doesn't explain why Chameleon Boy would be dressed as a hot girl and treating people very unfairly. But that's part of the mystery, I guess. Now this is the dull mission that Saturn Girl's trying to send her. She has to go to Vondra.
Right. And she has another one of her dream sessions to validate her concern.
Vondra is where the events from this issue's cover occur.
Right. It's a little goofy because there's no way that they're having her fact check herself. Like she's saying there's a danger there. And then to prove it, she has another one of her naps, one of her premonitions, and she's like, yep, it's definitely in danger. And they're like, okay, grab any 3 Legionnaires you want. Just make sure Bouncing Boy's one of them because he's useless. And go.
They're all studying at the library, these guys. Oh yeah, it's an Aurora Borealis. Borealis is something else, some other part of it. Huh? That's like the ones that happens in the northern hemisphere or something.
Right, the lights in the sky.
Yeah,
but Alaska or something.
This is just an aurora, and it is dangerous.
So it looks like a driver's ed class where they're all studying UFOs and the Love Boat and giant squid.
Yeah, this is the Science Academy Microfilm Library, and they're just taking notes about those unusual things. But as soon as they touch down on Vondra, her teammates get turned into little children.
They are de-aged into, does she name them in here? She has names for all of them, right? Lightning Tot, Bouncing Baby, Shrinking Child, and Ultra Kid. And soon you will be Super Infant.
That's on the cover.
She's not been reading Superboy because she'd know it's Super Baby.
Super Baby, right. Dream Girl took an antidote. So she doesn't get turned into a baby. Superboy shows up out of nowhere, huh? Just so he can be in this comic.
Right. Well, he's appeared earlier. He was there for the voting. He was. Oh yeah, he was chasing her around as well. Do you think she can see the future? So can she see like what happens to him tomorrow in Smallville? Because it's the past.
Dude, I don't know.
Did I just blow your mind?
Yeah, I got to drop acid before I'll understand that. Yeah, I don't think that's the future. I don't think she could see that.
Well, it's his future.
Yeah, I don't think she sees the futures of individuals. She sees the future that is to come.
Right. Okay. So these kids are making one another cry. Ultra Tot, I don't remember. Ultra Boy is bouncing boy like a basketball. Various silly things. And Super Boy ends up having to babysit them all on the trip back. Meanwhile, Dream Girl is busy seeing to it that they're all kicked out of the Legion because they're not old enough. And we return to that war-torn world where we have this amazing-looking flying giraffe in a spacesuit.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like an elephant body.
Okay, yeah.
But it's colored yellow like he's in a spacesuit.
Right.
Elephant body, giraffe head, and wings.
You'd think he'd want to give him the neck, but he probably just didn't have space for that in the composition.
I wonder if maybe this world, it must have had its war some time ago in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe they're getting near to a time when humans can live there again.
Yeah.
This is a living thing still there. Like if it had just happened, probably wouldn't be too many living things, especially mutant ones like this.
Yeah, but we're also in a comic book world where being exposed to radiation almost immediately brings forth a change.
Talking through this comic, it's kind of boring, huh? I had a much more fun time just reading it than talking about it and going over it with you. Like there are some funny parts to it, but yeah, I guess it's starting to heat up now when Matter Eater, when he thinks he's figured it out. Dream Girl has dropped multiple hints that maybe she's Chameleon Boy in disguise. The real Chameleon Boy, he's supposedly out on a mission somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does the classic bit where she's walking away and he calls out Chameleon Boy and she turns around and he's like, "Gotcha, you answered the wrong name." And then he starts shaking her. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of violently.
Yeah.
And he looks really angry.
And so they're like, "Just call him up. We can settle this right now. Call him up." And he's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm on my way back to Earth." So, I guess this false accusation shit is also grounds for dismissal from the team.
Just 3-month suspension, actually.
Oh, good.
Well, it'd have to be. I mean, almost every issue contains one false accusation. It's such a common plot.
That would be a good way to explain where'd Mon-El go to? He falsely accused somebody, he can't be here when we're trying to fight the lead man or whatever.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Clause 81 of the Constitution. Yeah. I think it's funny that... Actually, I meant to look up in the real Constitution, the printed, published Constitution of the Legion, if they actually made an effort to hook up all the numbered, bizarre rules from this issue into the Constitution that was, I think they published it in like an annual or something.
We're going to have to review that.
Yeah, and it's in the Amazing World of DC Legion Handbook.
Oh, they published it that early?
I believe it's in there, yeah.
Cool.
But that would be a more of a fan-made one, probably.
She has this snide look on her face. It reminds me of the Hernandez brothers for some reason.
Oh, on page 8? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when she's like, "Yeah, I tricked you."
Yeah.
She has this neat barrette thing in her hair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like it's like something maybe scientific or something. But it's just holding her hair back, I guess.
Yeah, maybe she uses it to pick locks.
It's a neat hairstyle detail that the other girl characters don't have. Like they all have kind of unique haircuts.
Does she have? I guess she doesn't. She doesn't have the star birthmark or whatever it is.
I think that might be a much later thing. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe Greg LaRock had her with that, didn't he? It looks like she has something on her face here, but I think that might be a printing.
Yeah.
Or it's her dimples.
Maybe they tattoo that on her as she ascends higher in rank.
Oh, yeah.
To be getting closer to becoming the High Seer.
Or maybe it's a brand put on there by Starboy.
Oh, going to be Starboy's property.
Even though she's wearing the pants most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so finally, Starboy goes to confront her one more time about getting Matter Eater Lad kicked off the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he catches her mask off. She's crying because of all the awful things she's been doing.
Right.
Chickens have come home to roost.
Big girls do cry.
Oh, man. Blondes have less fun. But she says she had a dream that she saw the Legionnaires, or saw the 7 Legionnaires die. So she hatched a scheme to join the team and then knock all of them off the team for whatever reason by being an asshole. She
Right.
could have just told him. Maybe could have just told him instead of all the shenanigans.
Right, because apparently it turns out that they were all there were dummies that she saw being blown up on the ship.
Who's the dummy is what I want to know.
I really don't like this. It kind of like makes it all really feel like a waste of time. She was being a bitch for nothing.
Yeah. It turns out the Legionnaires she saw die in her vision were not even Legionnaires. They were decoy dummies.
Right.
That the Legionnaires always keep in a spaceship nearby to confuse their enemies or something bizarre.
Right. So she has to leave because of her deception. But she mentions on her way out that she used her Naltorian science, changed Lightning Lass's powers into the ability to make anything super lightweight. And at least here, and this is how I've always envisioned her powers, it seems like a very formidable power. Like she can essentially pick anything up. Like in a way, it's almost like she can be the muscle of the team, which is how a lot of other characters with weight powers operate, but they never really explore that too much in the Legion. And it ends up being a lamer power that they want to eliminate in the early 80s, right? And bring her back to being Lightning Lass. But I think the gravity powers are interesting.
Yeah, I think partly the reason they restored her power is, on one hand, it seemed lame. On the other hand, they didn't have a lightning guy on the team anymore.
Right.
But yeah, putting it like you just did, good power. You can lift up anything. You can make your enemy real light and punch him out, punch him away or something.
Yep.
But then on the other hand, like you have legitimate guys who can lift up anything.
Yeah.
So in a way, like what else is that power good for? I think maybe that's why it seems lame.
Right.
But like, if you had Superboy stuck on business back in Smallville and Mon-El, he's benched because he flicked somebody's ear, so he's off the team for a month. Right. You got Light Lass now who can lift up something heavy.
Well, like a city gets an avalanche lands on them, she can hold up her hands and have all these giant rocks float up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. I think they're interesting powers. I kind of liked it when, who was it? Somebody had the combination of, is it Kono? Kind of has a combination of Starboy and Light Lass powers.
Oh, yeah. Isn't she moving? She's like moving mass, maybe?
She has Phantom Girl powers, doesn't she?
It's kind of a mix. She does have Phantom Girl-like powers.
But see, that makes her sort of a, I don't know, I guess it's just a combination, but I guess I like that sort of powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the same way that I think like the person who can grow to giant size should be the same person who can shrink down to microscopic size instead of two different people,
Right. Yeah, the other thing I liked about it, though, was like, it was like she had graduated into becoming her own character instead of just like a girl version of Lightning Lass, but she had her own power.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good actual character advancement.
Right. But so she doesn't join. Dream Girl doesn't join the team today. I think it's a good while before, maybe 20 issues before she does. We know that she leaves to go join the Substitute Heroes, though we never get to see that, unfortunately. And then she shows up again to stand up for Starboy, who ends up inadvertently killing, maybe in self-defense, an ex of hers, of Dream Girl's, if I remember right. But he ends up joining the subs too. And I think it is such a crime that I don't even think we ever get a drawn group shot of those two on the team. I just think those would have been great. It would have been great to have at least one story with those two.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about it. I've always known that detail, but I guess I just never thought I hadn't got to those issues where they talked about it. And you're saying they didn't even have a single adventure with those characters all together as a team.
They were all off panel between issues, whatever. But intermittently they have like sub issues that star the subs, and it would have been nice to have one with them on the team.
I'm sure it's because their powers aren't goofy enough, because the Substitute Hero issues weren't comedy issues, but they were as a way to
Well,
show off their
it all depends on how you
oddball
look at it. I
powers.
mean, in a way, I think you could easily argue that having the power to dream something that's going to happen a few days from now isn't like that great of a power, especially on the battlefield. And maybe Starboy's is more useful, but I don't know that it's any more useful than Polar Boy's power.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, Polar Boy and Chlorophyll Kid, those are good powers.
Hmm.
Night Girl has an obvious limitation to her powers. Stone
Right.
Boy does. Fire Lad, they always sort of made him sort of a weak fire guy or something, or couldn't control his powers. But yeah, that's like half the subs are somewhat legit, and the other half need work, I
Right.
guess.
I think you could almost argue Ultra Boy could be on that team because he has all these great powers, but only one at a time. Obviously, Matter Eater Lad and Bouncing Boy could easily be on that team. It's just they knew the right people.
Well, there wasn't a substitutes when they joined the team.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find this part where I thought Dream Girl re-explained her powers.
Right there where
Right here, right?
she's being spoke. Yes.
She says, I don't dream the future, I see the future, only for a few weeks ahead with my extrasensory power. So that makes it seem like she doesn't have to be asleep to use the power.
Well, yeah, it's a little murky. I know somewhere along the line they established that she has like some kind of time vision. Or she can see a couple seconds ahead. So, like in combat, she can predict a punch to duck or block it, for example. Kind of like what the Jedis said the Jedis could do.
Yeah, this old man is saying, of all the people on our world, you have the strongest extrasensory ability to look a little way into the future. But yeah, she doesn't sleep. I don't know why she needed to come up with the part of going to sleep to see the future. Am I just dumb and I'm not realizing that was that part of her scheme that she needed to be asleep?
Well, as you know, she does have to sleep. Like a lot of stories revolve around that beyond this issue. It's just she almost has two powers, and I don't know if that's exactly what they're talking about here. But to have like these premonitions, she needs to be asleep. But she can see like a couple seconds into the future, like while she's awake.
I don't dream the future. I see the future only for a few weeks ahead.
Yeah, well, that's got to be the dreaming, right?
No, she says, I don't dream the future. I see it.
Well, I think that's just how she chose to word it. Like she's like, I don't dream it, as in I don't fabricate it. I don't imagine it.
Okay.
I think that's what she means. I don't fucking know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what she means. It's not a dream, it's the actual future.
Right.
But I guess I don't totally understand the distinction. Like she has a dream and it's the actual future versus I see the future while I'm asleep. Is that what,
Yeah, I know. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
But we know going forward that she's always having these premonitions while she's asleep. She dreams Mon-El is going to die in a week. And like I said, there's this thing, I don't know if it was a Levitt's invention or what, where she can predict moves when she's fighting people.
Yeah, like she doesn't like she's gotten so good at it. The sleeping part is she can do a little bit without being asleep, I guess. And what's her last line here? Starboy's like, will you ever come back? And she says, maybe if I perfect my time sight power further, I could reapply.
Yeah, it's confusing because time sight, that phrase, that seems more like the fighting thing, but she's probably talking about the dreams.
And we'll go back to that blog post thing that you sent me where that guy theorized that this story, Time Trapper Introduction, was maybe originally going to be a two-parter.
I sort of agree with his basic premise, but I disagree with the way he laid it out. I think he was trying to say that the Time Trapper story, which comes much later when we finally see him, might have predated this issue, and that was the first time they ran into him. And then for some reason it got delayed.
Yeah, this is the Time Trapper issue, right? 338, maybe 337. Is it a two-parter or something? This is the one where they get turned into babies. Or maybe it's the second part of when they're turned into babies.
Thought maybe it had a similar cover even, but...
Yeah, this is the one with Glorith.
And
the one where they turn his space shuttle into a giant candy cane and start eating it. And they're the menace of the super babies. They're super brats.
Right.
And so the blog poster guy or lady, I don't know who it was. So what their suggestion was that the story from 338 might have been envisioned to happen or be published earlier. But instead this was published, the Dream Girl comic.
Right. I don't totally buy what his theory, but I think there might be something to his suspicions anyway. It is kind of strange how they have such similar plots and they both have like this blonde girl lording over them. The time trapper is sort of first introduced the idea of him in the issue we just reviewed. And then we see him finally. The first time we see him is in this other story, which also revolves around the Legion being de-aged into children. So I kind of wonder if it was initially thought of as a two-parter, like 2 issues in a row, probably.
Yeah, or maybe sort of in the vein of the Death of Lightning Lad thing, maybe just sort of a sort of ongoing subplot that kind of rears its head every now and then.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely see a link between them, between the beautiful blonde babe character, turning them into babies theme. Like just the idea that they've introduced the Iron Curtain of Time that's 30 days in the future, and then in the same issue they introduce this character who can see a little ways into the future. Almost seems like they were meant to be connected, like the Dream Girl is going to be their ringer character to defeat Time Trapper.
In the end, she turns out not to be a Legionnaire at all, or she's really this Glorith character or something like that. And the similarity persists all the way up to, we were just reading a letters column from 5 years later and people were mistaking one character for the other.
Yeah. It's almost like they kind of got their wires crossed or somebody misunderstood what was happening.
Right.
Like you could almost see, like if they hadn't had the switcheroo ending in 317 where Dream Girl reveals that she was trying to help them the whole time and not harm them. Like if they had actually continued with that, she could have been some kind of sleeper agent for a villain, just like Brainiac 5 suggests to Matter Eater Lad, and if they had continued with that, yeah, maybe Dream Girl is this girl in 338 here who is a henchman for the Time Trapper.
It's possible that it's as simple as that was the original intention. Either Weisinger or the writer became attached to the character and decided, no, let's keep her around and jettison that other half. But because that was the Time Trapper story, they still wanted to address the Time Trapper.
Yeah.
So they, eventually finished the story and just put Glorith there in place of Dream Girl.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like it. Yeah, something like they didn't altogether scrap their idea of Time Trapper with a beauty for his sidekick.
Right.
It just wasn't Dream Girl anymore.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely sounds very plausible to me. And yeah, the trick of turning them into babies again. Yeah, like it was just the Aurora Borealis thing was just a test to see if it would work and see if the antidote would work, like for when they try it again or something like that. It looks like Time Trapper is using a aerosol spray to make them babies up here in 338 maybe. Oh yeah, he's restoring them with his spray. Yeah, so he has the antidote. He had it all along.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of interesting.
It is really weird because if you look at the second page of that story, it opens up in this nuclear war ravaged ruins of a once great city.
Yeah, that's Time Trapper's headquarters.
Right, but that also sort of mirrors what's going on in...
Yeah, totally. This is the same. This is a sequel. I don't know. It's like there's some editorial interference, too many cooks in the kitchen type of thing happened with this. Like you can sort of see how it might have originally been envisioned, but was changed around. They're both fine issues of Adventure Comics.
Right.
But yeah, like I guess back in the days when they were less inclined to do ongoing multi-issue stories, I guess.
Right. We can only speculate what the relationship these two have to one another, but I think there's enough coincidence here to safely assume there is something there. There is some reason. We don't know the exact contrivance, but it does sort of seem like these two were meant to be, and they, even still they function this way even though you have separate characters, because the first one here is the first time we see the Iron Curtain and hear about the Time Trapper. The second one is when they do encounter him. This is the first time they actually fight him, though it's a little silly, of course. He's not quite as formidable as he's built up to be.
Yeah, as I recall, this is a Siegel written issue
Right.
338,
Right.
and his are often more silly than the
Right.
Hamilton ones.
And the space between them probably puts more weight, like you expect him to be bigger and scarier because they've been alluding to him in all these intervening issues. Whereas if it might have been the next issue, even, it might not have mattered that he was silly.
I mean, they still wanted us to think that he's doing something really awful behind the
Right.
barrier,
Right.
and he's a really big, nasty villain.
hmm
And he is, you know, he turns
Right.
Galorith into protoplasm in the story.
I mean, lots of these Silver Age stories have unsatisfactory endings, but it really does sort of fall off with the dummies and the ship. That does seem like they changed course towards the end.
It's such a, I mean, it's like we see it all the time where it's the
hmm
last page of the comic and it all gets explained in one panel by Superboy or something
Right.
like that. And in
Yeah.
fact, in that, yeah, we were just watching the fucking Mon-El going to the Phantom Zone thing where
hmm
they come up with a cure for him for his lead poisoning
Yeah.
on literally on the last page of the comic.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking 1986 comic book. You know, it's like
Right.
they've never sorted out how to really solve the pacing issue in a comic book, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Even some of these two-parters that are two whole issues that we've read, they still you have a whole second issue to flesh everything out, but they just somehow still manage to wait till the very last page. They'll just have a boring second issue and then cram everything into the end.
Well, yeah, and there's some I can't remember what it was. Like it's like a shooter one that we read not long ago where
hmm
like one issue, like the whole thing is a Legion comic, and the next issue that's supposed to conclude it is, well, he only got half the issue for the Legion, and there's this fucking Superboy reprint or something in there.
Oh yeah.
So it
yeah.
still is like you just run up against a wall of run out of space, you know.
Right. Right.
And they're not going to extend this thing out to 3 comic book. Who is ever going to be able to keep track of that, you know? I'm still thinking about the idea of Dream Girl being the counterbalance good guy for the Time Trapper, which, you know, isn't anything they ever pursued. And I don't think she never used her powers as like a, you know, like a time viewer type of power, right? Like
Mhm.
it's always she only ever is like there to identify a threat to the Legionnaires. Never used in like a offensive kind of capacity or to fight somebody or to, you know, like when you have a time villain and you have somebody who can see what they're doing somehow on your team,
Right.
like would that would be a good use for a character like that. And I don't
Right.
recall Dream Girl ever being really used like that.
They like rule it out right in this first issue. Like she says, you can't see past that wall, which is silly.
Wait, which wall?
Oh, the Iron Curtain of Time. Remember they like maybe you can dream ahead and figure out what's going on. She's like, sorry, I can't see that far ahead.
Yeah, but if she got better at her powers, maybe she could.
Right.
Right. That's what sort of what she implies. Like she's like, maybe if I get better at my powers, I can reapply for the team. And then the little caption box is like, wait till we fight the Time Trapper. It's like this is what she's invented for, you know?
Right. It's weird to think of any of her premonition dreams being deliberate to begin with. Like it always seems like it hits her randomly, like anyone's regular dreams. Not that she can just, well, I need to go to sleep real quick to see how we're going to do in this battle with Mordru. Hang on a second. And in that case, why would she ever, like, she'd just stay at Legion headquarters and talk to them on the phone?
Yeah, she'd be like me. Like, why would I get out of bed in the morning? You know?
Her utility belt needs to have like an inflatable bed just in case she needs to take a quick nap in the middle of a battle.
Yeah, like one of those horseshoe shaped pillows. She always has one of those attached to her belt.
Some sleeping meds.
Z-Quil.
Right. Always has a headache. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the first issue of first appearance of Dream Girl.
But not the last. You know, when you're as big a fan as we are, like certainly like most fans, I gravitated towards the more popular characters at first, and like Ultra Boy and Brainiac 5 and Chameleon Boy, and I completely wrote this character off. But it's kind of like a deep cut when you listen to an album for a while and you get tired of the radio songs and you start getting into the more obscure ones. it took me a long time, but I really came to appreciate this character, especially after reading like the whole run. And I think she's like one of the most underrated and misused characters. She has a lot of potential. For example, like if the Legion was going on today in the 12th reboot, I'd probably say that she remembers all the other iterations because of her sort of time senses. Like maybe she's the one character who can remember how things were before Crisis or Zero Hour or whatever. I like a lot, even though I hate the way Levitz wrote her in the 80s, I like that she drives Brainiac 5 crazy because she's good at a lot of the things he is. Maybe not quite as good, but he's this introverted guy who's one power. He's a complete dick. Can't make friends, but he's the smart guy. But she's pretty smart enough to get the job done. And she's pretty and good at socializing. So I think that drives him nuts. They're like constantly locking horns, you know.
He'd
like,
also be jealous of her because she can see into the future with just
Right.
like close her eyes a little bit, and he
Right.
that's all his thing is about, is seeing the future or the
Mhm.
past or whatever, time travel shit.
I think first started thinking she was cooler than I gave her credit for was in 5 years later because she shows up and she has put on some weight. And I don't know, there's just not a lot of characters like that. She was actually like what an older woman, a woman in her late 30s, early 40s would actually look like. And then all of a sudden, like her sort of bragging about her appearance and stuff, it changes the context. Like if she's like this heavy woman who doesn't care that she's wearing a bathing suit costume versus a clearly good looking skinny girl wearing a bathing suit, then it seems less showy and more like empowered, I guess. She doesn't care what people think. I know I'm probably reading too much into it, but it adds some sort of pathos to it. There's more to her. She's more literally, but she's a lot more interesting when they make her that way. It's an older character, I think.
Yeah, like I guess I feel like they characterize her just as this utterly confident, secure person.
Right. She's the high seer by that point.
Yeah.
Right. And there's kind of this interesting thing going on between her and Starboy, where Starboy is remarried or about to be remarried. And we see like some relationship conflicts they don't usually do with their perfect couples in the Legion.
Yeah, this is way later in
right.
Yeah, towards the
end.
Or I guess not the end, but the middle of 5
Right.
years later. The end of Giffen in the 5 years later period.
Yeah, she's a good character. They should do more with her if there's ever a Legion again.
Yeah, they should bring back the good Legion team. But she'd be so old. I guess they never get old, do they?
I don't know if Stuart Inman had something to do with some of the ways. I mean, some of this predated his time on it, but I like that as it went on, they started drawing a few, like not, maybe some people get lucky, you know, they stay in shape or whatever, but not everybody is going to be middle-aged looking just like they did in their 20s, except maybe a little gray in their temples.
Just you and me.
I want to see some people who are like a little heavier, maybe balding. Like some of them need to like look like real people. You've got zillions of superheroes who are teenagers or in their 20s. You got a handful in their 30s. And then the JSA, you've got all these like 80-year-olds or 100-year-olds or whatever they are.
There's no middle-aged ones.
Where are the middle-aged superheroes? You know, and I kind of like the Legion, the 5 years later Legion as middle-aged heroes, maybe a little out of shape and having to get back into the game. And that is the issue that was.